to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel at my side. Can you text us on 81215 if you have a moment, or follow us on the show, the show on Twitter.
You were going to say follow us on the Twitter, weren't you?
Yeah, at Frank on the radio. That's at with like an A that forms into an outer circle. If you can imagine that.
Now you're back to being you, aren't you?
Yeah, and or you can get us straight through the website, the Absolute Radio website direct. You can email.
I like the squeaky bit that you did there. It made me think that you were going to host the show today as one of the witches from Macbeth. Like, follow us on the Twitter.
Well, I like the idea that the witches from Macbeth have a voice. Well, surely they sound different in every production.
Or indeed a Twitter account.
That reminds me of there was a World Cup exhibition once, and it said, you know who World Cup Willie is? He was the mascot in 1966.
I've worked with him.
It said the exhibition includes a life-size World Cup Willie. And I thought, well, hold on a minute, this is a fictional... What life-size in what respect? Rubbish. Anyway, welcome to the show, and it's lovely to have you all listening.
What?
Who's that, Emily? Who's that he's being now? He's doing all the voices today.
My new thing is I'm doing...
I don't know, but I find it abhorrent.
I'm doing impressions, but they're not of anyone. I think that's the way forward for impressions.
That's how I do impressions.
I tell you what I want to ask you about. I've got coffee. Alan, you have...
I've got a cup of tea.
You've got a glass of water in front of you.
I'll come to that, but I've just had a new idea about impressions. Don't stop at the flow. This could change entertainment.
Okay.
Don't you think...
Can't wait to hear.
Don't you think impressionists in the past have been very celebrity-led?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all famous people.
Renoir wasn't.
Yeah. Even if you do, or even if it's at school, it's people, it's recognisable people. But if I sort of started doing impressions, say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, hello, how are you doing this evening?
No, I don't like
then people
that.
think that's brilliant.
I think that's very worrying.
I think the producer's a bit worried.
Why?
I think you should have done it as Ian McMillan again.
See, that's what would happen. I reckon if you did it if you got big enough crowds, you come on and go, hello everyone, how are you doing? Someone will say, that is exactly like that bloke at our work. You're always you're going to hit somewhere.
I love the universe you inhabit where if you got big enough crowds, who's going to come and see that show? A man doing impressions of nobody.
Frank's Scrooge. It'd be random impressions, that's what you'd call it. Yeah.
Got a big crowd in tonight to watch the impressions of nobody.
What could you call it? There'd be some post-impressionist. That's it!
Oh.
Post-impressionist, because there's been a period of showbiz impressions, and now this is just... That would be brilliant. Another classic. That's a bit... Be hard, though, for the request, because people wouldn't know what to call them.
Would you give them names, the characters?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's against
Very
the whole...
firm rule on that.
Yeah, definitely not.
Stupid
Random.
question, Emily.
Yeah.
Foolish.
Names. Oh, you're so bourgeois. See, that was another impression.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can miss them occasionally. Sometimes you think I've just got a frog in my throat, but no, it's an impression. You better believe it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, someone's been dreaming about you.
Okay.
It's an extraordinary dream. Do you want to hear it quickly?
Is it not rude, is it?
No, it's not rude.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Radio, Miss Emily Fiddledee-Dee, and Sir Cockerel. Oh, I like Fiddledee-Dee.
Well, I've got the biggest promotion there, I think.
Last night I fell asleep,
Knighted.
looking forward to today's show, and thus dreamt of Frank.
Okay.
We were in the studio, and I was confronting him about his obsession with Doctor Who. Beneath his desk were dozens of model TARDISes.
Oh, okay. Tardai.
That's what they call it.
Is it Tardai?
Well, I've heard this debated before. I don't know.
I've got a few Tardai t-shirts.
I actually have got a few Tardai t-shirts.
He was dressed from head to toe in TARDIS blue and had a bright blue face.
Okay.
I'm laughing because this could so easily happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
What
he
about
was
my circulatory problems? That's why I'm not laughing.
Meanwhile,
I wake up with a bright blue face most mornings.
he was much more concerned about his hairiness. He had a flowing head of hair, a floor-length beard and hairy hands and feet. When Kath and Buzz arrived at the end of the show, they were just as hairy. A bit like the hairy babies in that episode of Father Ted. I've never seen an episode, so I don't know.
No, but I know the Mexican hairy babies.
Forgive me for telling my dreams, but as it involves Frank, I thought it might be a bit more interesting. Cheerio, Lucy. What do you make of that?
Well,
how do you interpret that one?
Well, I mean, I'm no Freudian. I consider the simplicity of the Doctor Who thing, but because I've stopped talking about it now. I've been banned by Emily.
Evidently not.
But the hairiness, I don't know
what that could signify.
I'm going to think about it now. There'll be a ZZ Top element, I would have thought.
I like the idea of Kath and Buzz being equally hairy, like a strange hirsute family.
But according to Freud, these things that you dream sometimes they can be like, a Freudian slip when you get the wrong word. Sometimes it can be a bit like, we've talked about this before, so you think you're being chased by a wolf, but in fact you're frightened of Wilf from, you've got a mate called Wilf who you're frightened of.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand.
But I'm going to continue to dwell on it as the show goes on. By the end...
We've had another text, though. Frank, we all knew you were talented, but with these impressions you are surpassing yourself. I will now be doing impressions today at work. That's
you see? You
really
all said to me, no one's going to care about that, but already I've got a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. You better believe it! Fantastic.
Enjoy that one, Rob. That's just for you.
One of my best.
I dated someone from the cult.
Did
anyway,
you?
Yeah. Well, I say dated.
Yeah, it was a verb. There's another verb. Okay. So, it's Lent.
Oh, I hate Lent.
Okay. Well, don't you see it as a time of spiritual replenishment?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Thanks for the reminder.
I thought you'd love Lent because that's when people stop eating.
Oh, yeah.
Often.
Oh, well, I love it now.
Yeah.
Oh.
On Ash Wednesday this week, I didn't eat. I had one meal. That's, you're allowed one meal and 2 collations. That's what
you're not allowed to eat on Ash Wednesday. We need to incorporate this into the fashion industry.
You can have one. You can have one. A collation is like a tiny snack to stop you from falling over.
Snacking.
Is it?
Yeah. So you can have 2 of those and 1 proper meal is the idea. And I must say, I did.
Can I ask what that involved? What were the collations? Did you go like high fat, like nuts or something to keep you going?
No, I had a Weetabix.
Oh no,
but no milk.
What? Is that a Lent thing?
Yeah.
Is it really? You've given up milk for Lent?
No, just for Ash Wednesday. Just ate one dry. Yeah, it was that.
You ate one dry? Who does that? Something you'd see on YouTube. Some dare or something. Watch the man eat the Weetabix without milk.
It took me 3.5 hours.
Oh, my gran used to put marmalade on them and eat them dry. Gross.
Really?
Did you have 5 Jacob's cream crackers afterwards as well? What are you doing to yourself?
Didn't you have a theory that Weetabix had shrunk over the years? I bet you were glad of it on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Did you invite friends round for a dinner party?
Can I say Weetabix wrote to me about that and pointed out that they hadn't shrunk? Did you know that?
Yeah.
With quite accurate dimensions of what Weetabix...
I love that you've got a letter from... I've got a letter from Arthur Miller, you've got a letter from Weetabix.
Exactly. They should have sent me like 7 or 8 letters in a tube. But they did like a long, thin envelope. That would have been brilliant. Funny they thought of that. They didn't. But
what is the point of Lent though? So can you explain the history behind it?
Well, I don't know.
History behind it.
Well, I
appreciate it's biblical.
You know, I follow the Nazarene.
I do.
Well, he went into
Twitter.
He went into. Yeah. He went into the and you'd think he'd be able to spell Barack Obama. But he went into the wilderness for 40 days.
Oh, I love that club.
He fasted. And so, Catholics do it as well. But you give some up, but also sometimes you add something. But I've given up. I don't have much left to give up, to be honest, because I've given up most things over the years. I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. I don't have casual relationships.
What do you do?
Well, I don't do much now because I've given up tea for Lent.
What?
I know, I've given up tea. We'll come back to this while I can tell you're astonished.
I am.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Still haven't worked out why I've got really long hair and a long beard.
No.
No,
In the dream.
Because
in the
I'm
dream.
just generally overflowing with stuff.
It's pouring out of you.
Developing, organically expanding. Is it that?
Maybe.
Okay. That's
you're
the
quite
text in.
You're quite a godlike figure to many.
Not please, not in Lent.
Is that not allowed in Lent?
I don't think you should say that in Lent.
Can
I'm
you-
not easy with it.
Can you
I
explain
don't-
to me the brief rules of Lent? Because
The rules of Lent.
Cockerel
on
Jr.
commercial radio on a Saturday morning.
my little boy, who is, to my knowledge, not a religious boy, and
Yes.
doesn't go to a religious school, and
You
said
think
to me
he
the
could
other
be
day...
secretly...
Well, here's what's happened. He said to me the other day, I'm not going to sing out loud for 40 days and 40 nights.
Did
and I
he?
said, have you been doing Lent at school? Because all I knew was 40 days and 40 nights. That's my...
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. Oh, except for Everything is Awesome, that song from the Lego film. He said, that I'm allowed to sing out loud, but I'm not
Okay.
going to sing out loud. And then he said, I think I'm still allowed humming. So he's still humming,
Oh,
but
is he?
he's not singing.
He's come up with a series of qualifiers, is what he's done.
Yeah. And I said...
A lot of people do that in Lent.
So
A lot
this
of
is
Irish
about-
Yeah.
people. Often St Patrick's Day, maybe always actually falls in Lent.
Right.
Oh, what do they
And,
do about that then?
They always say, well, I think because it's the Saints' Day, you can, if you've given up drink for Lent. Oh, I think St Patrick's Day is different, so they all...
Right.
Yeah.
And is it-
Most
you're meant
people
to
that give up
something
drink
that
for
you
Lent
like?
should just give it up completely, though. To be honest,
Yeah.
like if you should give up sugar, you should just give it up completely. Why just do it for a brief period of time? This is what I don't understand.
Well, it's, just because to show that you can.
Right.
For example, I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'll never drink tea again, but I'll tell you something that was interesting. The first day I didn't drink tea, and I'm a big tea drinker, I felt a bit headachy and a bit spaced out. I was having cold turkey. I wasn't having cold tea. Cold tea. No, I was, I've felt that since. I've been a bit, like a bit dreamy.
That's.
Is it,
But why would
are
you
you,
do
are you
that?
strung out?
I am actually strung out. Yeah.
On non-tea.
Yeah, I think so. You think tea's very mild, you hear all these stories about coffee and people giving up. I mean, these are the people I know. I don't know anyone who's on K, right? I know someone who's on Special K. That's it. But I know people who have a lot of coffee, and we talk about that in sensationalist terms.
Yeah.
Are you ruling out coffee for the month?
No, hold on, I haven't given up coffee, but as you know,
Oh.
but I
You're
don't
not
drink
bothered
coffee.
for it. Yeah.
I don't drink coffee. I
As you said a few weeks ago, you'd be quite happy to never drink coffee again. And
I mean, I drink the decaffeinated. I drink that.
What are your impressions? Tell me
Yeah.
no. Just say no, it's not.
I'm not so sure about that character.
No, okay, not happy with that one.
That one should be in Macmillan, yeah?
Okay. Well, I'm still working on that one. This is a work in progress gig for my new impression show. No, but at least.
The crowd will be going mad.
But the sort of stressed out thing that people get when they drink coffee, normal
Yeah.
coffee, they get a bit tense and all that. I get that when I drink decaffeinated coffee anyway, and I get it for that moment.
I get that when I see man-made fibres.
I haven't seen that. Is that Tom Cruise? Anyway, when you order decaffeinated coffee, I've mentioned this to you guys before. I order. I say I'll have a decaffeinated cappuccino, please.
Yeah.
Decaffeinated, and they go yes, and then they go away.
I like that impression.
That's another one.
Yeah, and they come back later and they say, okay, cappuccino, and I say,
That generic man who works in
Yeah.
a coffee shop voice.
and I
Not
say,
quite generic enough for me, but
I always say, is it? Hold on, it's decaffeinated though, isn't it? And they go, yes. And I always say, well, it isn't, is it? It isn't. And so I
he's
always.
getting this coffee in Barcelona, do you?
So I drink in intention that I would have got from the caffeine. Decaffeinated. Oh yes. I hate that.
Absolute Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Our readers have been texting in, haven't they, Al?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this seems to be how they get people, innit? The old... my son's not religious, but he's given up stuff for Lent. I don't remember last summer him doing Ramadan. He didn't have a go at it.
Well, it's just starting. Maybe he'll do... who's to say he won't cover all the great world religions? He's just starting with Lent.
Actually, thinking about it, he had some big suppers last year, so it could have been that.
He didn't have 12 people around.
I like the way they called it the Last Supper, very middle class, instead of the Last Dinner or something. It means a lot to me. They had standards.
The last midnight snack. Yeah. We've got a few texts in. Too many people give up things for Lent and then just binge straight away afterwards. The idiots.
Oh, I love the
It's
idiots.
from 2 or 4.
Oh, I thought it was from I thought that was the signature at the end.
No, I don't
the
believe
idiots.
so. I think it's...
yeah, but I think that's all right, isn't it? That's what I do.
Oh, is it?
Am I going to be drinking tea on Easter Sunday?
gonna have
I'm
like
going to
a-
be drinking tea out of a chocolate Easter egg.
You could have a yard of tea.
Good luck with that experiment.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to drill 2 holes in a chocolate Easter egg, put the tea in and then drink it like a coconut. But you've got to drink it really quick, obviously, because you know that the hot tea is steadily making its way through the inner casing.
At the risk
Oh,
of,
I hate it when that happens.
I want ringside seats to that.
I just like the idea of you using the drill to drill 2 holes in the chocolate egg.
I've got a hand drill. That's
Right.
one of the... Oh, no, sorry, I've got a mandrill. It's a large, colourful ape. I got mixed up.
199, Frank. I could
God,
never.
listen to the teeth on it.
I could never give up tea for Lent, so I'm giving up biscuits instead.
Well, that's, I think that's all right. I'm giving up biscuits as well. I'm giving up sweet things. But I just give up sweet things
Whoa, hang on. You can't... Surely you want to focus your attention on the tea. Don't
Well, the
divide your resolve.
Yeah, but I like to throw in a bit of Weight Watchers. You know what I mean? Yeah, so the tea is...
I'm worried about socialising with you, though, if you don't mind me saying. You're just going to sit there... No, I'm fine, thanks. Just with a glass of water.
I'll have a glass of water, please.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
good, isn't
Hey,
it?
Frank, do you want to come round to mine for a tea and a biscuit? No.
And he'll
I've got-
bark at you because he'll be withdrawing from the caffeine. No!
It's a good job I'm not single, though. Fancy coming back to mine for a glass of water? See, I went into my voice then, my chatting
Was
up
that your
voice.
date
Was it?
impression?
Have you noticed men do that? You can be talking to a mate and I say, yeah, I do, good to see you and all that, and then you hear him out going, yeah, you got you get that horrible...
What, when they're chatting a woman up?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
Or you get people, they get a phone call, they say, yeah, hold on, just get this.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, just...
That
Yeah,
makes me
I'll be
feel a
with
bit
you. If you
queasy.
carry on, I'm just going to finish his phone call. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby.
Oh.
no.
Baby!
I feel sick now.
Oh, no, it made me feel sick when it was me doing it, just to hear myself. Oh, God, that's why I'm so glad I'm settled in a relationship now.
We've had another good email about Lent. During Lent, I'm going to do more push-ups, more stretching, and work on my sidekick, just like Jesus did. Love you all, Hannah.
Excellent.
I'm going to work on my sidekicks.
Oh.
So watch out!
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in, I don't know if this is what you wanted, you reap what you sow. Morning, Frank,
Very
Emily and
biblical
Alan.
this morning.
Hasn't it? If we're talking impressions, could I request some of your all-time female classics? Posh middle-aged British lady, brackets, do you see? I think you might have said that.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's the phrase. That,
Yes, do you see?
Okay.
Yeah.
And middle-aged American lady, brackets, Buzz Aldrin's wife.
Oh, God, I remember her.
Do you?
No, I remember. I know what the story was about her. Is that I interviewed Buzz Aldrin. As soon as I got a chat show, I said, "Right, let's get Buzz Aldrin on."
Uh-huh.
And he was the guest on. He was the star guest on the first ever episode of the chat show I did. And they decided. Then the producer said, "Well, let's put him in. We won't put him in a modern hotel. We'll put him in a proper old English Tudor house type. They'll love that, Americans." And she phoned up and said. So can you move us from this hotel? Because would you believe this? When we walk, the floors creak. So
Frank, we had that.
he's
When we,
since divorced, He's
Has he?
divorced her when he was about 80.
I love him for that.
One
is he
morning he
available?
woke up and thought, "That's it.
Enough.
I've put up with this long enough."
Frank, we took one of my gay godfather's friends, Louis St. Louis, who's he's
Louis St. Louis?
Yeah, he's called Louis St. Louis.
So gay they named him twice.
Yeah, pretty much. He's a lyricist. I believe he wrote Grease too.
Did he really?
Yeah, he wrote Sandy, I think, as well, in the original Grease.
That's a beautiful song. Stranded at a drive-in.
The good thing is we can do the royalties via me.
Because if John Travolta did it nowadays, he'd say, Shirley. Because he gets the names wrong.
Okay. Oh, yes, no. I'm just relieved about where that was going.
You know, when you do topical stuff and people haven't read the papers that week.
I know exactly the Travolta gaff. Don't blame it on us.
I'm feeling a bit hot.
Frank, I know the Travolta gaff. Frank, so Louis St. Louis, we thought, we'll take him because he's American. I mean, he's very American. For, big faux fur coats and all and the like.
Well, that's American.
We took him to... Very Texan, you know. Yeah. We took him to...
He sounds Alaskan.
The Spaniards Inn in Hampstead. You know, that very traditional old pub.
Oh, yes.
We thought he'd like it. We walked in, he went, "This is horrible." So we had to leave.
I just like anyone who would say that. About because people are so polite nowadays. Mind you, I had a driver who drove me into the show this morning, and I got in the car, and he said, "Hey," wait, no, he wasn't American. He's doing
mixed up with Louis St. Louis.
The impressions. He said, "Hey." He said, "Hey, well, where are you off to?" And I said, "Golden Square." He said, "Okay, great." And then he said, "Is it warm enough in the back for you? Too cold, too warm?" I said, No, it's fine. And then he said, I said, "It's good to check, isn't it? Have I got time to do this day?" I said, Is it time to I said, "It's good to check, you know, you got the right person going to the right place." He said, "Yeah, so we have a school, a kind of a school that they do at this company where they teach you to be a good driver and, you know, and to be, and all that." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Is it like a physical school, the actual building that you go to?" And he went, "Yeah." He didn't speak to me again for the rest of the journey. It's like he thought, "No, I don't want to talk to this person." And just made the decision like that. And that was it. It didn't end. And then when I got out, he said, I said, "Have a nice..." He said, "Yeah, have a good day." That was it.
Have a nice life.
Completely dismissed.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I'll tell you what I did this week. I drove for quite a long way with the petrol light on. You ever done that?
Oh, yeah.
How far can you
Terrifying.
Quite far in my case, because I've told you about Girls Empty. Have I not told you about Girls Empty?
No, I like the sound of it.
Well, stick around.
They're a bit like Girls Aloud.
I like to fly
more vacuous.
I like to fly a bit too close to the sun when it comes to the petrol.
Oh.
It's my little adrenaline kick. I see how far I can go. There's Boys Empty. I think that's on the gauge. That's right on the nail. And then Girls Empty is below that. I once did Girls Empty and I had to call Jonathan Ross to come and pick me up and save me in a canary yellow suit.
Well, because you ran out of fuel.
Yeah, because I just push it. I push it further than I should. I can't help it.
Push it. You will have to push it if you're not. If you carry on driving like that, miss.
No,
that's my policeman.
Very good.
I love the policeman.
I identified that.
Yeah.
So where do you stand on the petrol gauge?
Never run out.
Well,
of course you haven't.
I hate the idea of it.
Oh yeah, I've run out on the motorway.
Oh no.
Oh, lovely.
No.
So Girls Empty, I love it.
No, I run out on the motorway. I was naked.
118.
I was holding a West Island Terrier above my head like a football scarf. I'd been drinking.
So what was in that person's dream? It wasn't that you were hairy, it was just a West Highland Terrier.
Yeah,
that
exactly. She's got
shedding.
That's if next time she needs to have a dream, she needs to sleep with her glasses on. She'll be able to see me properly. Do you dream if you wear glasses regularly and you dream? Are you short-sighted in the dream because you don't have your glasses on in bed?
No.
Is this the dish texted?
Oh, you'd have to go to an optician and say, "Could you get me a prescription for my mind's eye?"
That's like your observation about ghosts. Why do they wear those clothes?
Why do they wear clothes? Where did the clothes come from? Did the clothes die and rise again?
What outfit? And also, I know we've talked about this before, but why aren't the ghosts ever in the hospital gown? Which is what a lot of them would be in.
But but
They're
how
always
can
in
that be?
breeches. Why is everyone in breeches in the ghosts?
But no, but how can there be any the clothes don't have spirits that come back, do they? It doesn't make any sense. They should be naked.
So we've gone from Lent to ghosts. Is that what we're doing this?
Well, it's a spiritual day.
It reminded me of his ghost observation, which I think is rather fine.
Gary from Andover has texted, Frank, you can go around 20 to 25 miles with the petrol light on. Safety mechanism for morons.
Shut
Now,
up.
I was told by
How many miles?
20 to 25, but I've been told more than that.
I think I did more than that this week. We'll come back to my
I'm
petrol
going 40 in that case. Love it.
Well, I have heard that said.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a number of texts and emails in, Frank, regarding petrol.
Oh, yes, the petrol light.
Can we start to call it the fuel light, please?
Why?
Because
Oh, that's a bit American.
is your car diesel?
Yes.
There you go. That's
Oh.
why, because it's
Oh, I
not
love-
a petrol light, is it?
I love this conversation.
Well,
Sorry, but...
I think I still... You see, I mean, I don't keep gloves in the glove compartment, but I still call
Love
it
the way
glove
you two have
compartment.
diesel, money savers, penny wise.
Or,
No,
Hi,
I'm just
Frank.
trying to destroy the planet.
Have you ever played
Comics.
petrol station roulette? When you drive past a petrol station with the red light on, hoping you can make it to the next station. That's from Paul the chauffeur in London.
It's
That
good to
sounds
know
like
that
a
Paul the
bad business
chauffeur
plan.
is doing it. Good news for his VIP passengers.
Sorry about that,
POB.
Alan Sugar.
But yes, I have done that.
Have
Paul.
you?
But I've got orange light in my red light's a bit extreme, isn't it? For a...
Well, 829 says, I have done 60 miles with light on, did not want to risk any further.
Yeah, I think
That's good. 60.
60?
I think I did about. I did high 40s this week.
If a man
Wow,
did
really?
60 with the light, I would get intimate. Because I would respect him.
Good job I stopped when I did.
So 829 that texted in, if you are a man, that's Emily saying factually she finds that attractive.
I
that you
do.
did that.
I like that approach to life. It's a bit devil may care. In fact, Paul in Nottingham could have a chance because he says, hi Frank, I live my life on the orange light. And then he says in brackets, you've got about 50 miles left.
I like the melodrama
Yeah.
of that, though. I live my life on the orange line.
See, I...
Paul, where's he from?
I don't believe he's...
Paul.
he's in Nottingham.
Paul in Nottingham. You don't have to put on the orange light. Paul in Nottingham. You don't have to drive on vapour through the night. Ah, that's the closest to enjoying a police song I've been for probably 15 years. Okay, well, I tell you what, I found it's very, because it's so tense. First of all, I'd say it's very good for your cardiovasculars.
Yeah.
Driving on the petrol light, because I was extremely... Oh, it's like the decaffeinated had turned up. But also,
we're just stuck with that pronunciation forever now. aren't
I
we?
think I was a slightly better driver during
Yes.
my my orange light.
Was
period.
it David Cameron doing a speech when you need the toilet?
Yeah.
It's that
Well,
principle,
I
isn't
think
it?
of it as, you know, Spalding Gray did that film Swimming to Cambodia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And in that, he talks about he has to swim in the water with the South African man. It's a very, very dangerous patch of water. I think there's sharks or something. I can't remember, but it's dangerous, and he's very worried about it. So what he does is he gets his training shoes, he puts all his money and his gold Rolex in his training shoes and leaves them on the beach. And he calls it displacement of anxiety.
Right.
So he was so worried about his money and his watch, he wasn't frightened in the water.
Yeah.
And I think I was so worried about the petrol running out that, you know, the normal tensions, road rage, people, you know, oh, what are you doing and all that. I wasn't doing any of that. I was in an orange light nirvana. Orange light nirvana. She's the queen of northern soul.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
589. My orange fuel light flashes when it gets really low. Thank you for that.
I like the fact that they've put fuel light, though, because...
Oh, that's good. And they've put orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've also had
And they put
240.
flashes as well, like that. Otherwise it wouldn't have made any sense.
We've had 240. I think this is a text that is attacking a point I made. Why call it a petrol station Well, I don't. I call it a service station. So,
Oh dear.
Yeah, I call
it a garage.
I call it fuel or a garage or a service station.
I call it pull in here, please, driver. 149 says it is an offence to run out of petrol, you lot.
Is it?
You lot.
Which I think is a point almost as pernickety as me saying, can we call it a fuel light rather than a petrol
I
light?
don't know. If I'd have known that, I might not have been such a chancer this week.
I have a theory.
I was a chancer.
I think 149 might be slightly wrong here. I think they're saying it's an offence to run out of petrol. I think it's an offence to knowingly run out of petrol. I think that's a critical point. I don't think you're allowed.
How would you establish that?
Well, in that case, I've offended so much I've made it a skill.
I think the rule is something like you're not meant to go on the motorway if you know you haven't got fuel for the amount of time you're going. Like you're
Is that right?
You're not meant to
I'll tell you
go
what
on
the
motorways.
problem is, though, don't you find when you're driving, because you have to look at the road, you don't really have time to look at all those dials and things. I have this problem with the speed.
TMI.
Yeah, but the speedometer's another thing.
Yeah.
I
think you are all you're duty bound to look at your dashboard.
I'm quite put it this way, I'm quite relieved you're not a pilot, Frank.
A policeman said to me once, he said, do you know what speed you were doing? And I said, no, I was looking at the road. I thought, I'm not falling for that trap. Trying to catch me out, like, you know, I mean, that's like using your mobile. You start looking at your dials when you should be looking at the road. Well, so be careful. That's an offence.
Keith says, me and my girlfriend regularly travel to Liverpool from Stevenage. Strange journey. And my aim is to do it on one tank of petrol. Inevitably, on the way home, the fill-up light comes on, but I make it my mission to get home without filling back up.
Wow.
This has led to us driving at 44 miles an hour on the motorway, just because I want to win the competition I hold with myself to see if we can get home. Needless to say, my girlfriend does not share my enthusiasm for the game, because she fears we'll be stranded on the motorway through my stupidity.
I think they're Stevenage Reds. I think that's why they drive into Liverpool regularly. That's my... Well, I did run out of petrol on the motorway. And
what happened?
a man... I pulled onto the hard shoulder.
Jail.
Seemed sensible.
Got a jail sentence, didn't
No. A man stopped behind me and got out the car and said, can I help?
Was it George Michael?
No. He was driving my car. And I looked up from under the dash. Now, I was... he said, can I help you? I said, can I... Move on. I said...
I never can, that's my problem.
Can I help you? And I said, well, I've run out of petrol. He said, jump in and we'll go and find a petrol station. He said, have you got a petrol can? I said, no. In a sort of a, no.
Weirdos voice.
So he drove us to... Off the motorway, we went to this place, and he said, well, let's not ask where there's a petrol station. And we stopped at someone's house, and I knocked on the door. I was quite famous at the time. Knocked on the door, and I said to this woman, where's the nearest petrol station? And she looked over my shoulder and said, is there a camera? And I said, no, it's just me. I've run out of petrol. And the bloke drove all the way around the thing and dropped me back by my car. And I said to him, and it was a genuine inquiry, I said to him, are you an angel?
Wow.
He looked terrified.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
I accidentally frightened a woman in the street.
Your Honour.
This week.
Yes.
What did you do?
I asked her if she'd seen the moon.
Why did you do
You've
that?
just mooned at her.
I said, excuse me, have you seen the moon? Do you know where it is tonight?
I can't believe she thought you were unhinged.
She looked alarmed. It's a perfectly reasonable question, isn't it?
What time of the night was this?
Oh, no, it wasn't very late. It was about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
And
You didn't really go up to someone and say that.
What were you wearing and what were you holding? That's right.
Yeah.
Because that would be terrifying.
I was
depending
holding a West Highland Terrier above my head like
and wearing nothing.
No, I was holding my baby. That's why I thought, I think if you're holding a baby, you can...
You can ask all sorts of...
But the trouble is, you see, I look a bit old to have a baby, so she probably just thought I'd grabbed one on public transport and jumped out of an emergency exit. That was the thing. But it was a serious question. I've been trying to show... when I take Boz to bed...
Yeah.
all this week, when we go up the stairs, he starts going, moon, moon. And I can't find it. I looked through windows on both sides of the house.
It's very apt, as he's called Buzz. He would have an obsession.
That's it. I never thought of that. That's his course. But I couldn't find it. I thought it must be absolutely directly above the house, so I couldn't see it through the window, like it was lining up for an alien abduction.
Right.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it anywhere, so we went out into the street to try and find it, where the house, I could see everywhere. And so I still couldn't see it, so I just asked, as you would say, do you know where the nearest phone booth is?
A question that hasn't been asked for about 15 years.
No.
Who asked that?
Well, I haven't really spoken to anyone in the street for 15 years.
It's
other than to say, thank you very much, that's very nice of you.
Nice.
Who asks for the nearest phone booth? People are calling Spider is generally who asks for the nearest phone booth. That's another story.
But
Where's the moon tonight?
But we found.
Just wondering how it sounds when you say it.
I know she was. And then I think she panicked and said she's very cute. Speaking about the baby.
Oh,
I didn't
Are
know.
you sure she wasn't speaking about you in a slightly camp way?
Well, she's very cute. I'm not serving her.
She wants to know where the moon is.
Yeah. It was quite dark. I suppose it could have been. It could have been a man in drag. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Although that's. I feel better about it now because we were both outsiders from society.
Can I hazard a guess at what I think the problem was?
Well,
Go on.
Light pollution. Was it light pollution?
No, I'll put the light off.
oh, did you?
Yeah, I
But you
found
live
it.
in London, so
I
No.
found
there
it in
would
the
be
end.
some.
We found it.
Did you? Buzz found it. That makes sense.
Down the
And
back
it was
He's
a-
good at finding the moon.
And it was a lovely crescent.
Oh, I saw that crescent, Frank.
Yes, it looked
You
like
saw the whole of it.
It looked like a lovely, if you can imagine a lovely nail clipping in the sky.
Yeah, I can now.
It looked like that. You know when you see a nail clipping on a carpet, when you cut your nails and there's always one that goes astray. There's that one that flies. You know where it's gone, and later you see it on the carpet. It's like that beautiful.
Tune in for more moon reviews next Saturday.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What about Jamie Oliver? We haven't talked about Jamie. Did you see he had a bit of an embarrassment this week?
Oh, he's opening an Italian restaurant in Hong Kong.
Yeah, he's launching a restaurant in Hong Kong.
Terrible idea.
Do you think they call him number one super guy? He decided, you know what people decide to do when they go to a foreign country? They try their hand at the lingo.
Smash the stadium up, you mean? Oh, sorry.
They try their hand
I
at
had
the
a
lingo.
flashback.
The football hooligan in you that you aren't.
But it's all right to try a bit of German or something like that because we can all
Ich
grasp
bin ein
that.
Berliner.
Das ist verboten. But
Ach du lieber Gott, mein Bein ist gebrochen.
Pardon?
mein Gott.
Oh my God, my leg is broken.
Oh.
Oh, I love that Kaiser Chiefs song. But he attempted Cantonese.
I think
Now she's a tricky mistress.
points for
Yeah.
attempting Cantonese.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a difficult one, Cantonese.
Well, do you get points though if you're trying to sell your restaurant?
Well, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
This is like he's thinking, I'll do anything. I'll speak Cantonese
Yeah.
if it comes to it. Push comes to shove. I don't think the Chinese they don't want Italian. They like their own
Is it
stuff.
the cuisine that you've got a problem with?
They like their own stuff. If you walk around Chinatown,
own
if you walk around Chinatown in not far from this studio, it's full of Chinese people eating Chinese food. That's what they like.
It
Well,
is,
that's
yeah.
true, yeah.
If
It's
they
not full
went,
of Chinese
if
people
Chinese
with a big
people,
slice of pizza, is
Well,
it?
if-
You're right.
I don't know if there's
we
ever-
can't speak for every Chinese person.
No, but I
here.
bet you, I don't know if there's ever been a Chinese person on Question of Sport, but I bet you they went in the home and away round. I bet you they went home. That's what they like, what they know. That's what they like.
Do you know what it is? I bet he's oversimplified that rule. You know when you go for a
Yeah.
Chinese and some people lean in and go, "Oh, this must be a good Chinese restaurant. Look, there's lots of Chinese people eat here." I bet he's thinking,
Yeah.
if I open an Italian in Hong Kong, people will go, "This must be a good Italian. Look, there's loads of Chinese people
You know,
eating here."
he's made a mistake. He's made a terrible mistake.
totally
with that. He thinks it'll
oversimplified
work.
it.
Yeah, he's got it. Oh, God, he's got cuisine blindness.
He tried to speak Cantonese and he said he'd be opening an amazing Italian submarine, he said.
I like that, though.
Did you?
Yeah, I think, what if he does? We shouldn't rule out
We
that he
don't
might
know.
open an Italian
That's
submarine.
his only chance there, is a novelty Italian restaurant. I'll tell you what, it might not be a submarine, it'll soon go under. Hey?
Oh,
That's my prediction on the Italian...
I mean, we don't know
What
that
about
he's
those
not a
chicken-
keen
What about those
scuba diver.
chickens that are sort of wide open? You know those chickens that look like an open book?
Spatchcocked.
Oh, yeah.
They're in the windows, but they're
Oh, I know them,
They're
yeah.
opened up. It's like they've got the thumbs
Yeah.
in the rib cage, and I've always thought they'd make a lovely novelty mirror frame. have like a mirror in the middle.
I'll
and
bear
have the
that in
chicken.
mind for your birthday.
Thank you very much. Or a book cover.
Do you want it basted?
I'll tell you. Oh yeah, because I think if it's going to be a book cover, you're going to have to Scotch guard it
Yeah.
if it's going to last. But you could have, depending on the different book, you could have a different creature encasing it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Jamie Oliver and this restaurant he's starting in Hong Kong, but he's attempted the lingo, and I think no good will come of it. He said, well, first of all, we established that he'd said he was going to open an amazing Italian submarine. Now he said the restaurant would be very slippery.
Well, it might be.
Yeah.
It could. There's a lot of oil involved in Italian food.
Yeah.
That's true.
They spread oil.
That's true. There's not. I forgot that.
There could be a bit of balsamic in there. Sounds like the floor's going to be lovely.
You see that? Is it MSG that they put in Chinese
Yes.
food?
Yeah.
You see, the good thing about it's got a matte finish. You can have that on the floor and you still got plenty of grip. But
Yeah.
your olive oil, it's an accident waiting to happen.
He tried to say Causeway Bay, and he said bronze bed. I like the sound of a bronze bed, though. You know I like a hard surface, Frank.
I know.
Well, again, he's going to have a bronze bed in his Italian submarine, isn't it? So
Yeah.
he's having it.
Oh, you're imagining sort of bed knobs and broomsticks
Yeah, he's
kind of
having a special
underwater world.
He's got a bit of money. If he wants an Italian submarine,
If he's got he has got a bit of
like
money.
cribs,
I
with
agree.
a bronze bed in it.
I agree, though, that he's got a lot of money. So why is he opening an Italian restaurant in Hong Kong? What keeps people going?
Food, isn't it?
I
I'll
know,
get a nice holiday in Hong Kong.
But you know, I sort of carry on working because
on and carry
I
on.
really like, I like doing the jokes, me. But will he
And the
ever go?
impressions. Don't rule out the impressions.
I mean, that's what I mean. I'm always evolving. That's different.
Yeah.
Whole new career for you.
You can say that again.
I'd rather you didn't.
Like I said, you just press the button on the randomizer and out they come.
You don't have to take any responsibility
No.
for them.
Certainly not. I feel that they're plucked from the ether.
Yeah.
Anyway, but where is the joy in opening an Italian restaurant? If he's got the money, he's got other restaurants. The idea of a
got the
restaurant...
submarine.
The reason you want a restaurant is so you can hang around in there in the evenings and say, all right, Dave...
Dave!
Dave, he's
See
there
that?
in Hong Kong.
but you sit
All
there,
right, Dave.
go over to the table and say, everything all right with your meal? Did you see Fleming this week? Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in the last episode. That kind of thing. It's like, how often
You think
is
that's how he's run his
Are
restaurant
you
to the UK?
confusing having a restaurant empire with being a regional publican?
No, he might have said. He might have said, have you seen Fleming? That was Pocker. He might. I know it's a bit different with him. He's a bit of a character, but that's what it's about: hanging out and feeling. What's the benefit? It's just a bit of extra money. I don't know how much money people need.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
So we were talking about Jamie Oliver, Frank,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's not that you're not a fan, but you're not a fan of
I like him.
his empire building.
I just don't know. I don't understand why. What pleasure does he get from? Pretty good takings, Jamie, at the Italian in Hong Kong last night. Oh, Pocker, fantastic.
I think he
That's
says
the
more
people-
than Pucker now.
No, I know. But do people think like that?
Yeah.
Anyway, God bless him. I think he's a nice man.
Yeah.
I was in Korea once, and I'll tell you this story,
Yeah.
and I was trying to order in a Korean restaurant.
Okay.
And they it's not like a lot of... There's no English, nothing. There's nothing on... There's no letters you can identify. No one in the restaurant spoke English. I had to mime the whole order.
Oh.
So first of all, I just wanted a drink of water. So I
Lent.
And I started miming rain. You know when you hold your hands upturned. So I did that, and the waitress. Oh, I could tell the waitress really wanted to help, but she was just looking at me. So then I did a draw. She brought me a napkin and a pen, and I drew. I thought
She thought you were Picasso.
a very good tap. I mean, really quite a good one, like a proper cartoon tap, with water coming out the bottom. And she went, ah, and went away and came back with an enormous, like a litre of beer. And I said, no. And I got the, I pretended I was washing then, for water. And she went, ah, and she went away and she came back with a wet napkin, so that I could wash my face with it. And I squeezed the water from the napkin into the palm of my hand and licked it. And then she came back with a glass of water. Yeah, I was so pleased with myself. And then she patted her stomach to mime eating, and I went, and she just bought me a whole chicken. So I had a chicken and water. That was what I had for my meal: a whole chicken and a glass of water. Honestly, it was like being a fox.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel. Why not text us on 81215? Many of you have, and we love it. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email us direct through the Absolute Radio website.
Email us direct, and indeed we should sashay on into email corner. We've not been there for a little while.
Okay, well I'm happy to. I can arrange that for you. Listen. Email corner.
A pithy one to start, dear Frank, Em and Alan. Given that the creeks are rising, do I need to be worried about my future Saturday morning entertainment? Yours with a warm embrace, John.
That's a very... If you're not familiar with the show, we always end by I think it's from the Grand Ole Opry or something of that nature. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise. But it's never occurred to me that the creeks have been rising quite a lot.
They have.
Right. Yes. I don't you just love our readers that they spot?
I do.
Very clever. When there's, most people are out on the street going, whoa, yo!
Are they?
Yo, whoa, yo!
Yes, another one of...
That's what most people do. I'm not in Britain.
With their time.
Yeah, another one of Frank's impressions there this
It
morning.
is so, is
Oh,
it?
my goodness.
Oh, you must have lay in bed and heard, whoa, yo, whoa, and thought,
Where is your
I'm
new
never-
house?
I'm never getting out of this bed.
Are they the same people that say Frankie Legend?
What about, well, I don't know who they are. They're just, when they sing, rather than trying to sing their very best and sound melodic, they go, whoa, yo, whoa, whoa. I saw that Paul Daniels, did you see it? Paul Daniels I saw on Sky News with the lovely Debbie McGee.
Oh, they do everything together.
She had a Mac on air.
Oh.
Quite a big Mac.
Got a Big Mac.
Yeah, I think
Was it belted?
They had, I think it was belted, yeah.
Oh.
I think that was just to cover the saw marks. Years have been sawn in half.
Yeah, it was chafe eventually.
It must, yeah. I mean, even if you're really good at it, eventually you're going to get it wrong and you're going to catch a bit of skin in the teeth.
Yeah. Can I ask you a sensitive question about Paul Daniels?
Go on.
What with the hair area? He's just open and exposed about it, isn't
Yes,
he? There's no
yes.
hat in play.
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
I mean, I imagine if he's got any hats, he's got livestock in them.
Yeah.
That's how he works.
Yeah.
But they showed
That's where the hair's gone.
They showed you photos of his lovely home by the side of the Thames, and the water was like 3 feet up the inside of the house. Made me think that maybe his magical powers aren't quite what he's built them up to be.
Yeah, David Blaine wouldn't have stood for that, would he?
He would have just...
I totally agree with you on this, Frank. It's like Paul McKenna. Well, why can't you give yourself hair? If you can?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's true. If you can do anything...
They claim magical powers, but when tested...
Bald and single, what's going on?
Whereas Dynamo, I reckon he'd have dried the whole thing out in seconds.
Yeah,
Seen Dynamo?
He's good.
He's good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's the best.
We like Dynamo in the Cockerel household. Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
We're going to continue with the email corner.
And he's, he downplays himself, you know what I mean? He doesn't wear the top hats. And
That's
all
what I
that-
like about
all that
him.
Stuff. He's just like some ordinary...
Low-key.
One can imagine him in the street. And then suddenly, he's took... You know, you go over and say, hey, keep the noise down. You think, oh, God, he's coming at me. He's took a coin from behind your ear.
I don't want to downplay his humility, but he has called himself Dynamo. I mean, he's not... You know, he's not even that bashful about his skill,
that would point
is
towards a high self-esteem.
I imagine that's been... that's because he likes Kiev.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's a big fan.
No, I imagine
of
he's
footy.
been... it's been forced on him by people saying, whoa, you're like a dynamo. People...
I like the sound of those advisors.
Well, because they're the sort of people that go, whoa! they can't think of any good magical illusion, so they've had to come up with something that you might have on a 12-speed racer.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We're in email corner, I believe.
Yes.
We are indeed. I have another one here. Hi, Frank, Emily and the Cockerel. I am a girl, not yet a woman.
I love that reference.
Girl, not yet a woman.
Is this one of your impressions, or have you burst into song?
No, that was
That's a Britney Spears
bona
song.
fide, yeah.
Mm.
I saw the film.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
I didn't know there was a film
Yeah, she did a film
called
with
I'm
that-
a Girl, Not Yet a Woman.
I don't know if it's called that.
Was it
but
Crossroads?
The song's in it. It could be Crossroads.
Oh, yes, I saw the film too. We'll talk.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'm a girl, not yet a woman in my
Let's have a
late
screening.
in my mid late 20s. Get it on DVD or
What did you
Netflix.
say then?
In my mid-late 20s, and so obviously Emily Dean is my mentor, paragon, guide in all things.
Oh, lovely.
Well, me too.
Oh.
Mid-late 20s?
Carry on.
We're moving on,
Keep
are we?
reading.
Okay. I'm determined to use the... let me see. I'm determined to use the phrase filthy creep more often, and was delighted when I realised we both share a love of the dishwasher facial.
Oh,
And-
yes, I love the dishwasher facial. It's the quick steaming you give your face. You know when you put I pointed out once that when you place your head down in the dishwasher,
Yeah.
just when it's opened, you've got
Yeah.
to time it correctly, gives you an instant facial.
Is that-
Steams all the pores. It's great. I do it intentionally.
Yeah, you got to
Don't
watch.
you do it? I
What
love
about
it.
the big knives? Don't get into. Can I just say to our readers, don't get in too far, because the big knives, when they're erect, they're dangerous.
Okay.
You don't want a knife to the long knives.
No.
Don't come round mine then.
We share a love of the dishwasher facial and say our mobile number in the same rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
XXX.
No. XXXX. XXX. XXX.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, but less tunefully. Does the team have any further tips on how I can become more like Emily and thus increase the number of night moves I receive?
I've got one.
Go
and that
on.
Is,
Yeah, I've got at least one.
Oh.
I think one thing that you might feel from listening to Emily on the radio is that she has tremendous grace and poise. But I've walked up with her now we go for brunch after the show.
Yeah.
And I would say, on average, she falls over 3 or 4 times. I actually, one week, I was holding her shoulders, walking her up the road, and she was I was like an over-eager
I
assistant.
had a bottle of vodka, to be fair.
I
She
did
drinks
feel-
heavily during the last link. That's
No, I did feel that I was working at a faith healing session, and I was going, come on, you can walk, you can walk. It was like that. Come on, you'll be fine. Get off me. It was like that. And I don't know what it is. I presume it was the shoes, but they weren't even your mega heels.
No, I think it's just sometimes you have an issue with rain with these heels, so it wasn't one of my finest moments. I like it. I like to think it's a deliberate mistake, Frank, as you always say, in the Persian carpet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Everyone needs a little fault.
Yeah.
I would say if you want to be more like Emily, just reply sure without looking at people when someone asks you a question.
Yeah.
Would you like a biscuit? Sure.
It's turned into some sort of comedy roasting.
Yeah, sure. Comedy roast.
Does Does the team have any further, and thus increase the number of nights moves? Sadly lacking in them at the moment. To give you an idea of my taste, a potential suitor doesn't have to have fancy skills like the ability to jump onto people's faces, but I'd prefer he didn't eat onions like apples.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what we've gone here, we've gone in deep radio references.
Yeah.
That's Joe Derby,
Yeah.
the black country man who used to jump on people's faces and off again. His own child.
Yeah.
And baskets of eggs and water.
And we've gone Peter the Wild.
Peter the Wild, who ate an onion as if it was an apple. That's brilliant.
You know what?
Deep references.
Esther, your nights are my nights. You can have some of mine. There's plenty to go around. They're mainly from the Birmingham area, but you can't have everything.
lot of suitors.
It's difficult to have. We know when people have types. You know,
Yes.
people say, "Oh, they're not my type." I mean, it's a weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have always said my type was a sort of very heavily waxed Billy Idol. And then I've ended up with a sort of Jane Russell sort of pneumatic brunette. So it's difficult to have a checklist. I think you just, it happens.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Earlier we were discussing you driving with your fuel light on for a considerable time. We've had a text in from Helen. Deaf too stressful. I can't even drive with the window wipers on extra fast because I breathe the same rate as they are going. Very
That
good.
is because you're going to hyperventilate and
yeah,
slump
you
at the
can't
wheel.
have that. Yeah, you don't
Maybe
want
that.
Yeah.
If only George Michael had that excuse in his quiver, that could have got him out of a lot of trouble.
Well, he can keep it up his little sleeves now. Oh no, he's clean now though, isn't he? Who doesn't indulge in?
I don't know.
No, I believe so. It was when he woke up with a West Country accent, he had an epiphany.
Oh,
Don't you remember?
That's right.
He decided enough is enough.
Yeah.
In an appropriately camp fashion. Simon Monday has tweeted us. He says, I am the master of the twisting ankle curb wobble. Rarely do I manage a stumble-free stroll. I'm Emily. # Spartacus. I like that.
I wonder if Simon favours a kitten heel.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I find if I go over, I went over on my ankle about 3 weeks ago. Properly went over on my ankle. Like
What
I
did you
never
have on? A David Pleat slip-on?
I just had a David Pleat slip-on, and I went over and I thought I really felt that I was on the very verge of breaking my ankle.
Oh,
then just crossing the
Frank.
road. Imagine that.
Ooh.
Oh, and
What was the shoe? I suspected it more of a brogue.
you know what? It was a slight brogue, but it was a slip-on brogue.
Okay.
If you really want to know,
I do.
Clark's.
Okay.
Nice. There's another text that I'd like to read. I try not to read out the... Occasionally-
get me Clark's. Sorry.
Occasionally we get text messages that are abusive. This isn't in that category, but it is...
Do we get those?
Well,
I don't.
every
I
now
should
and
tell
again.
you all. I don't look at the text in case we get any abusive and I become
Every now and
upset
again.
downcast.
But I
You
don't,
pick up on it.
I don't feel wounded by this. I just want you to know.
No.
But we've had a text from Scouse Ian saying, is it me, Frank, or does that bloke on the radio with you sound like Dennis Norden? Or has he always got a Murray mint in his mouth? Do I sound like I've got a Murray mint in my mouth?
No, but you do sound like Dennis Norden.
Do I?
Yeah.
And he's from Liverpool.
So he says.
Well, he's Scouse Ian.
Well, they should stick together, the Northerners. It's basically
I like
making
you
a point.
distancing yourself from the regionals.
Well, I'm very much in no man's land in the middle of the country. So the north-south divide. We
always feel
we
for
are
the
the very
Midlands.
cement if there was an Adrian's Wall. Yeah,
Do you know what? Sometimes I thank my parents for the London ticket.
Yeah, you've really won the postcode lottery, didn't you?
I love Alan's accent. I think it's
Thanks.
smash. I love your accent. What's that
Could do an
poem
impersonation of it.
about the ambitious English lecturer who's ashamed of his wife? He's ashamed of his wife, and then it says something like her bargain casseroles, her love of sad films, her regional vowels.
Is that today's texting?
I like
What's that
it.
Yes,
poem?
yeah. What is that poem? If you can identify that.
Sounds like I wrote it.
Absolute Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I did say I don't read out the abusive text, but we've had one that's...
Oh, no, don't start reading out abusive.
It gives and it taketh away. Frank, you are indeed a funny man, but your taste in music is appalling. I don't think I agree with that.
No.
Make of that what you
There'll
will.
be people listening to this on Absolute 80s and Absolute
yeah, of
90s
course,
and all
yeah.
that, and they'll think, actually, that's right. It is terrible.
I listen to Absolute 80s sometimes. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, my God, my girlfriend, she loves Absolute 80s.
Oh, so do I. Oh, we'll get together. Greg Rogers
Does he?
has tweeted...
I don't see why she texts us to tell us that. Sorry, carry on.
Continue, Emily.
Greg Rogers,
Yeah.
I'll say it again, has tweeted us with a photograph of his petrol tank, and it's right on the gauge.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And he says, nearly on the light, good times. I love that, Greg.
Life on the should be life on the hard shoulder.
I love Greg.
Yes,
I do. I'm saying that.
I love Greg because it's the name I give to the stuffed animal head on my wall. It is.
Greg,
Yeah.
what's the
Where is
animal
that then?
have you
Is
got
that in
on
your
the wall?
study?
I don't know what it is. Can you believe I've got a head on my wall? And I don't know. I don't
Is
know
that in your
what
study?
It's yes. It's currently in what I now call the library. Which
Or is that room with 3 books in it?
Yes.
Oh, and a load of boxes.
No, it's got lots of books, but
the
mainly boxes.
library.
Me and Kath always live as if we've moved in the day before. Where no matter how long we live in a house.
I rather
Really?
like it. Makes me feel relaxed, and I like it.
But yeah, so I've got a friend of mine was emigrating to America, and she couldn't. She has a collection of stuffed animals, but you can't take stuffed animals to America unless you got the paperwork.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got to prove where they were killed and how.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the basis of so many episodes of Nothing to Declare.
Is it? Okay.
Some.
Anyway, so I took. She gave them all to her friends, and I had the biggest flat, so I got the biggest head.
Oh.
But I don't know what
isn't it
kind of
always the way?
It's got
Yeah.
big horns. But I call it Greg. That's just... It's named after the false name I had when I opened a account for...
Bakers.
I won't go into why I opened the account. Years ago.
Okay.
Can you open accounts with false names?
You could in the 80s.
Oh, really?
This is a dark story.
It is, yeah, I'm starting to wish I hadn't got into it yet.
I'm intrigued. There might still be money in it. Is it a dormant account, this fake one?
Inland Revenue.
I thought that was a woodpecker. Frightened me to death.
No,
I
it'd
thought there was
need
a
to be,
woodpecker loose in here. Can you imagine that?
It'd need to be 15 times in a second that you hit it like that. Remember we got the text
Oh,
last
yeah.
week? Or the week before,
Here we
whatever
go.
it was.
Hey, we haven't talked about the cheerleader this morning.
No.
Oh, don't bring that up on there.
That was Greg's business. It wasn't.
No, not that cheerleader.
Oh!
The one who's suing her parents. Did you read about her?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this
She's-
is from the you couldn't make it up section of the
No.
newspaper, isn't it?
She's 15 years old. She's...
Is that all she is? 15?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
She says her parents abandoned her. They clamped down on her.
Not the first time someone who works in radio has said that. So she is 15. Oh, God. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Joe Johnson says, as a Scouser myself, I feel I can't comment on anyone's accent since a French man once asked me if I was speaking Arabic.
Yeah, he had
I
just said
love
that he was
Joe
going to open
Johnson.
an Italian submarine. That was his thing.
So this cheerleader, I'm sorry to bring it up again, Frank, the
Yeah.
cheerleader. She's suing her parents, isn't she?
Yes.
We did establish that.
Yeah.
Because they're a bit strict, I think. Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
yeah. And so she's moved in with this other family, who I, frankly, love the sound of.
Really?
The Inglesinos.
I hate them.
He's an attorney. That's where you and I differ. See ya.
An attorney.
And they're
Is
that...
she going out with the son of the other family? Is that, have I
She
got
really
that
going
right?
out with him? No. She had another boyfriend that she split up with. And that's the other reason she's suing her parents, because they said she couldn't go out with him.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a suable offence. They haven't got a leg to stand on, the parents.
I think these
What they're
Inglesinos...
being is parents.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's an outdated idea. If ever I have a certain, maybe because her dad was a police chief, maybe he's a bit strict.
Squares.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. They're such squares. She said they forced her to play basketball.
Yeah.
They obviously got the whole basketball netball thing mixed up, and they made her play basketball. And she says, like, we're supposed to play netball, the girls. And the dad realised he'd made a mistake, but wasn't prepared to back down, and so made her play basketball all the time.
You think that's what's happened?
Oh, she's been playing like men who's like 7'4", knocking her about and stuff. Awful.
Spiralled out of control, and now there's a lawsuit about it.
And she said they gave her bulimia as well. Well, she said they make her sick. I don't know if it's the same.
She said, well, they also apparently gave her wine coolers in the back of the limo.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like my idea of heaven.
Wine?
There were
I know that's the
15.
other family.
The Inglesinos, yeah.
Yeah, no, the parents
the
gave
parents.
her bulimia, made her split with her boyfriend, and made her play basketball. They were, I mean, come on. I'm with her all the way.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not?
She
Why
stood
not?
outside the house, stood outside with pom-poms going, I hate Mum and Dad, Mum and Dad, Mum and Dad, give me an H, give me an 8. And then it was like that.
You know
drunk.
what?
She's drunk.
You know the thing that upsets me about this story the most is that the other parents are bankrolling this lawsuit.
I love those parents.
See, I just want it known to any of my son or daughter's friends' parents that if there's a point where I discipline my children and they then bankroll a lawsuit for them against me, I'm going to resort to physical violence. I'm coming round.
Whoa!
I'm coming round.
Hey,
I'm gunning for you.
That's, can I say we on Absolute Radio do not approve of physical violence?
Oh, surely in this instance that's totally
Not even in this
approvable.
instance.
No, come on.
It's the official line.
What, if another
No,
parent
not if it's another
bankrolls
parent.
your child
No,
having a
never
lawsuit?
mind,
You've
never
got to
mind.
be
We're
allowed
still don't
to
approve.
bash 'em.
We still don't approve.
No.
We really don't.
I do. I'm saying it. Maybe I'm a shock
He
jock
does,
now.
but he's not voicing. These are personal views, not the views of Absolute Radio.
Honestly. Come
I
on.
like Frank's incredibly reasonable tone when he represents Absolute Radio.
Oh, I'm a company man at heart. And can I say, for any friends of Alan's son and daughter listening, if you fall out with your parents, the chance of being bankrolled by Alan Cockerel are absolutely zero.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, I want to talk about the other suing story. Because it wasn't just the cheerleader. Did you read about the man who sued the casino because he said he was drunk?
Yeah.
I had a lot of sympathy with that argument.
No.
No, I did, really.
Mark Johnston.
No,
he lost
no,
$500,000 in
Yes.
a Las Vegas casino.
Who hasn't? Well, I haven't.
No, that's the texting.
And he said they served him 20 drinks, and he drunk 10 beforehand as well. And
He's got a thirst on him.
you say that was a Sunday night for you back in the day. And
Yesterday, when we were young. Come on, everybody.
but he said
So many songs.
that it was irresponsible of them to let him play the tables.
I think if a really drunk man comes in and says, I want some chips. I mean, I've had many a drunken man walk in and say, I want some chips. Yeah. But I mean, in a casino, I think that is a bit irresponsible because he doesn't really know what he's doing. So what about that?
Okay, I'll tell you why I disagree with you. What about when I drunkenly download Thong Song on iTunes, which I did do? So can I go to iTunes and say, give me that 79p back? I didn't want to buy Thong Song.
I'll tell you
I was
what,
drunk.
I'll give you the money back. What about that? I'm just so relieved.
give you the money
that
myself.
when you said, I remember that time I got drunk and I'm so relieved it's for
Yeah.
downloads on YouTube. I'll give you the 79 pence. and if it's there, I'll give you the money myself.
Are people going to sue the phone company for when they send drunk texts to
Exactly.
ex-boy and girlfriends? It's ridiculous.
What
Take
about
some
when I bought-
responsibility.
And what about when I bought that
What's
packet of
happened
pickled onion Monster Munch? I want that at 49p back.
Yeah, they probably owe me for
Just
kebabs.
invoice me.
All right, Alex Turner.
He said he'd had 10 drinks before and then he had another 20 in the casino. And
Yeah.
he said about the ones that he had before, he said, I've got to take responsibility for that. And then, exact quote, but the unfortunate part about it for them is that they have a bigger responsibility than I do. No, they don't. No one's got a bigger responsibility for you than you. Grow up. Grow up, mate.
But we have to look after society's drunks. If you, as he said, if you saw a drunk having his wallet picked in the street because he was drunk, you'd step in, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I don't think that's quite the same. If the robber gave you loads of drinks first and you said, yeah, I'd like to come to your house and leave my wallet there, then that's...
But then I can't...
This isn't a business model that the casinos are doing, is it? They're not getting people drunk. Otherwise it'd be happening every week.
Look, the truth is, every time I pass a casino...
this week.
Every time I pass a casino in the street, I laugh.
Why?
There's something about the idea of even the word a casino. I'm just going to the casino. Are you? Because you think of James Bond and you go past one, there's like fat blokes in leather bomber jackets going in, and you think, they're going to the casino.
Have you ever walked past an arcade or a casino and looked in and seen someone and thought, I wish they were my friend?
No.
The answer's no.
I've looked in and thought, I wish I'd got my backpack flamethrower. No, I don't really feel that. I'm happy with them, I just sit there and they make me laugh. People thinking, oh, I'm in a casino. Oh, man. I'm glad they exist. They bring happiness into people's lives.
Yeah, and it keeps them
sadness. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.